Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. It's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild, all his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off. Online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, 20 takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and today's episode we are joined by a very special guest, current professional hockey player Lordanthony Grissom of the Allen Americans of the East Coast Hockey League. LA is in his first official full year of professional hockey in the ECHL, where he spent a little bit of the year last year in the SPHL with the Peoria Rivermen before winning the championship with them last year. Prior to turning pro, LA spent time in the North American Hockey League for juniors, as well as playing 5 years at Aurora University for college hockey in the NCAA. So this has been an episode in the making, and can't wait to get this thing going. So welcome to the show, LA Grissom.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. It's good to get you on, especially since it's been a while since I seen you, since we both trained here with friend of the show, Josh Boyko, as well. So it's good to get you on and connect with you again.
Oh, absolutely. Happy to be on there.
Yeah, absolutely. But to start things off here, like how have you been? Like you're in Allen, Texas right now. So how's everything over there?
Pretty good right now. Like I was saying earlier, like been on the road so much. Finally, we have some home games. We're on the road again tomorrow against Tulsa, but things has been pretty good. I'm in a really nice area. Can't beat the weather. It's 51 degrees right now. Sun's out, so can kind of go golfing when you want. So it's pretty nice, and lots of food, some great food here in Texas, that's for sure. Yeah, I can't complain. It's been a great ride so far.
Yeah. So like, what's been your favorite part about Allen, especially like the food that you're talking about that's so good. Like, what's been like your favorite food that you've had there?
Uh, the barbecue is unbelievable. The barbecue, Tex-Mex, it's like Texas Mexican food is really good. I've been craving Mexican food nonstop. Yeah, it's just one of those things that food wise here it's great. I tried this place called Terry's Black Barbecue down in Dallas. Is some of the best barbecue I've ever had. Is I was one of those things that when they say everything's bigger in Texas, they mean their food too. Like one sandwich is plenty. One sandwich is plenty. You eat one, it's like I thought I was gonna be able to eat two. I had one, and I was like, I'm pretty full with the mac and cheese on the side too. Like I was ready to be in a food coma.
Yeah, that's unreal, especially since like when you think of Texas, like you think of the Lone Star State, like Cowboys, all that, but like you also like I've also like heard big things about their barbecue and everything. Like that just proves that their barbecue is unreal, especially like the mac and cheese with the barbecue sounds so
Elite,
good right now.
elite.
Yeah, it's just I love that. And like what other things do you like to do around Allen, Texas?
So we've gone golfing a bit, just because like weather is pretty good.
Yeah.
the greens are very fast. The grass obviously is not really growing, so it's like pretty hard right now. But other than that, I mean, we just have like it's just a good area. So many shopping malls, outlet mall, like 2 minutes from the rink. Really nice, just outdoors mall that's right across from the rink. Going down to Dallas, just walking around there and seeing things. I know some of the boys are gonna go to the Cowboys versus Eagles game. I think that's Christmas Eve. That Christmas Eve game. There's so much to do. Like just I'm fortunate enough to be in a spot where there's things for me to do versus other spots that they can't really do too much in the league.
Yeah, it just seems like you're spoiled over there, and like anything you can do, you're gonna do. Like golfing, like who doesn't love golfing? Like that's hockey
Right.
players like go to, or like during the off season, or if they're in a warm spot, it's just to go hit the links and enjoy some time with the boys.
Exactly.
Yeah, but how's everything else going with like the team and Allen, and just this is your first year in the ECHL, so like how's everything with that?
Pretty good. We're not where we want to be at in standings wise, but we had a tough 3 weeks. We ran into teams that were on 10-game winning streaks. Like, I mean, that's just tough to do when
Yeah.
we're got guys getting called up to Belleville because we're affiliated with Ottawa. So guys are getting called up to there, and so we're missing part of the team, and we're hitting these teams that are on 10-game heaters. Like that's it's a little tough to do, but finally we kind of have everyone back now. So this is kind of our time to like make a stretch and run for moving up in the standings. So, other than that, like personally, I feel like, I played every game. So it's been pretty great. I've been able to get out on the ice as much as I can and do exactly what I want to do, set my goals that I have and, kind of achieve them.
Yeah, so it looks like it's gonna be going uphill for you guys, especially since you guys have everyone back instead of facing guys that are on teams that are on 10-game heaters and getting guys that are called up and then having like new teammates all around. Seems like everything's going uphill from here.
Right. Exactly.
And like over like the past like couple weeks, you got your first ECHL goals. Like how sick was that? Because I remember seeing that video and like it was a snipe.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, I got to give credit to the passer Leopard. That was an unbelievable no look backhand pass from the blue line to see me driving down was, it could have easily have made the pass alone should have made
Yeah.
ESPN top 10. Not about the shot. The shot is what it is, but that pass was insane. Yeah, and then there it was funny because their whole bench was kind of chirping me the whole game. I know a couple buddies on the team, so I'm sure they were probably egging it on and stuff too. And yeah, so they were just chirping me right after face off. And, just one of those things that kind of happened that I end up scoring on that same shift. And yeah, so it was just kind of funny and it was a great experience, something, I'll never forget for sure.
You just go past the bench and chirp them back for after you score.
Yeah, it was so funny. The puck after scoring is like when I had turned, I was already facing their bench, so I just kind of shushed their bench, and it was just one of the things I didn't really need to say anything else after that,
Yeah.
and they end up stopping. So it's one of those things that you just have to listen to what guys are saying and use that fuel and take it personally, and go about it and prove why you should be there.
Exactly, and then you score, and like there's no better feeling than just shushing their bench because that like after that no one can say anything because you just scored.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a funny moment though. But like this year, obviously, like we said, this is your first year in the ECHL. So like, what's been like the biggest learning experience from this season so far?
One thing that I've noticed is like the decision making's faster compared to like the SP or even college. Like guys are a lot more skilled, and a lot of times you don't have as much time as you think you do, or you just don't have. If you're going to make a decision, you got to make it right away because the
Yeah,
window closes very fast. Um, I mean, other than that, like I said, the speed's a little faster. Guys move the puck, they shoot it obviously a little bit harder, but in terms of me like adjusting to that it's just one of the things that just took a little bit longer to just see how it goes playing in games, seeing how guys are in practice, and then just adjusting to it, because they obviously you can try to mimic as much as you can in the summer, but it's a little different when you get into an
yeah,
actual game. That it's tough you'd have to be around those guys and playing against those guys the whole summer to even be ready to go at the start of the season. So it took me a little bit to adjust, and now I'm feeling like a little bit more confident and being able to go out in games and if it's a faster guy that I can stay with him, or if it's a slower guy to, adjust the gaps and things like that.
Yeah, you can, like you said, you can do everything you can this summer to be ready, but like once you get in the games, it's a completely different feeling because like everything's happening so quickly, like you said, and like you just got to be good chemistry with your teammates and everything, and it's just a faster game than when you're training just 1-on-1, 2-on-2, or whatever. Like you have it's 5-on-5, 5-on-4. Like you just
Right.
gotta it's a whole new ball game.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then going into last year a little bit here, like you were obviously at Aurora for the first for your full season in college, and then you got onto the Peoria Rivermen and the SPHL. It's like, what was the process like to go from Aurora University to Peoria?
So we had lost to St. Norbert and overtime on a Saturday. That next day, Sunday, I got a call from Knoxville and Peoria, and then just kind of talk to the coaches, kind of fill it out, and kind of wait to see like if there was going to be any other teams to reach out. And then one other team ended up reaching out, but they weren't in a spot to make playoffs. So I was like, if I'm gonna go sign somewhere, I want to sign somewhere where they're gonna at least make playoffs, so I can get a chance to see how it is and being in a playoff run with a team. So after just kind of talking to coaches, I just felt like I connected more with the coach in Peoria, Guy, and talked to him. And that Monday, that next day, Monday, gave Guy a call, talked to him, said, "Yeah, I want to come." Um, he said, "All right, perfect. I can." They were playing Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and he was like, I said, "When do you need me down?" He's like, "You can come down kind of whenever we play Thursday. You'll be in the lineup Thursday." I was like, "Okay." I played the game against St. Norbert was a tough game. Like body was really banged up. I said if I could just get a couple days just to kind of like, recover a little bit and then head down. So I left on that Tuesday, went down, practiced with them on Wednesday, morning skate Thursday, and then was right into the season with them on that morning skate Thursday and was right into the season with them on that Thursday night.
Yeah, so you go within 4 or 5 days from playing college to be playing SPHL games. Like, what was the biggest difference that you noticed from going from NCAA right into the SB?
Well, I'd say in college, everyone plays a little bit more desperate hockey. You always feel like every time you're going back to get a puck, someone was on you, and
Yeah,
like they were hounding you nonstop. And then kind of get to the SP or professional hockey, like it's a little bit more structured, and you can go back and pick up puck, and you have more time than what you think than when you had in college. So it took a little bit to figure out and start adjusting to just going back and getting the puck and knowing that I can look up and see like, oh, I have time versus
yeah,
in college when I went back to go get the puck, I knew it was running gun nonstop. People are coming nonstop on me. So felt like I had no time to make a play. Whereas get the pro hockey, it's a little bit more structured, less running gun. Guys get the puck, you can take your time, kind of look up, make plays, and go from there.
yeah. So you play in 12 games the rest of the regular season during that year, where you get 3 goals, 3 assists. So what was it like in that first pro goal?
That was the first game. The play was kind of we were in the D zone, puck came out, scrambling from that, got the puck skated up, passed it to our forward on the right. We went in on a 3-on-2. I decided to stay in the play. He passed it right over to me. I caught it in the slot, was very confused why I had so much time in the slot. And then I ended up scoring. It ended up being my first shot in pro hockey, ended up scoring, and it was, unbelievable feeling. The whole day, I was very nervous. Obviously,
Yeah.
like anybody going into their first, pro hockey game, I was contemplating if I should still play hockey, driving into the rink. Like, I was so nervous, felt like I was going to throw up all day. I was fortunate if I had a couple friends on the team that I played with growing up in Michigan. One of them asked me like right before the game, like how I'm feeling. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I like what am I doing right now?
Terrified.
I said I'm so nervous, and they kind of calmed me down a little bit and say, it's just another hockey game, and to score on that first shot in first game was like, okay, I can play hockey. It's done. It's out the way. The first one's out the way. Was able to score. And that was, I think that was like maybe midway through the first period. And then later that period, I ended up, we were in the offensive zone. RD brought it down the boards. There was so much room on the opposite side of the ice. He zipped the pass through everybody. I caught it on the far side, looked up. Nobody was in front of me. Next you know, it's just me and the goalie, and I shot it. Went in, ended up being my second shot in pro hockey, ended up scoring.
2 for
and
2.
still scored 2 in the first period. And I think I only had 2 in the whole season of college to do that in the first game, first period. It was, definitely an experience that, I'll never forget. And just, I had Josh Boyko. He was there at the game. Simon Boyko was at the game. And I think Joe Ackley was at the game. So to have some of my roommates and, close friends to be there, and my girlfriend was there for them to see it. It was, unbelievable.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very special, especially like when you have like your teammates, your girlfriend down there. Like that makes everything more special. Then you go 2 for 2 on your first 2 professional shots. Like not a lot of people would do that, and like you could say that you went 2 for 2 on your first 2 shots in pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then like you guys go on in unreal playoff push where you playing 10 playoff games, also notching 9 points. So what was that playoff series like, especially like since you guys did end up winning the championship? Like what was that the entire playoffs like?
It was a little different. It felt different, obviously, from the regular season. Obviously, it's do or die. It was best of 3 the first 2 series, and then a best of 5 the last series. So the first series we came out hot, beat Pensacola right away. Pretty good. It was a good game for us. Then we had them again. They came to our place. We ended up losing. So now we're in a do or die situation. We pull out the win with them. And then we get to Quad City, who's a rival for us. Like we everybody in the league knew that whoever was winning this game should be the team to win it all. And so we got into a little bit of trouble, lost the first game. Now we're in a do or die situation. We got to win the next 2 to move on. And we came back the next night, had a really good game, won, and then it came down to that third game, and it was, I think we were down, or we were tied 1-1 or 2-2 or something like that. They had a 5-1-3 in the last, I think it was maybe 2 minutes of the second period. Now they're with a 5-1-3, and now we're getting to a spot where this could change a lot if they score on this and take the lead, and they still have another power play. And we had our PK was blocking shots and things like that, and everybody's selling out to kind of do what it takes to move on. And so we end up blocking a lot of shots and got out of that period alive with tied up, and then we went to work and came out on top of that game, and we got to Roanoke and for that final series of that best of 5, and we didn't want to leave anything to chance. Right away, went up 2-0 in the series, and we were going to their place, and they have a tough place to play in. It is a tough place. Their fans are loud. It's warm at this time, so the rink's really hot, and guys are cramping up in games that we were just like, we weren't prepared for that type of atmosphere. On top of it being warm there, so we ended up dropping that game. And then kind of came back. We were down, we battled back. We were down 2-0. Came back. We lost 3-2, I think it was. And then same thing happened the next night. Down 2-0 again. We chipped away, took it to overtime, and then won it in overtime. But it was a different feeling because you can just see that when we went into that locker room, there was a guy in the room who was a leader, but he never really spoke up too much. He was just kind of a lead by example guy.
Yeah.
And he spoke up, and it kind of changed the room. And, ultimately I think that helped get us that win, that speech that he had. And so it was a different feeling. I mean, we had signs up in the locker room from fans that they put up, and it was not so much for the team. It was for the city because Peoria it's a winning culture there. They've had They won in the East Coast, and they hadn't won the SPHL championship. They've made it so many times, and for it to happen on the 40th season of Peoria being around, that it was definitely something special.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say is that Peoria has such a rich history that especially like when like all the fans you have like the signs from the fans like it's more than hockey at that point. Like it's just you're doing it for the city, for the fans and everyone that supporting you guys and just to be able to do it in like in overtime in the fashion that you guys did it, it was incredible. So like what was the feeling like when you guys did get that overtime winner and you guys were SPHL championship champions?
Well, you could kind of see like I said, it was our coach has been there for a while. Guy, he's been there for a bit and been to a bunch of championships with them, and to lose, they were in first place, won the whole league, to getting swept first round, and all of this stuff. It was a huge weight you could just see lifted off his shoulder, and uh, for all of us, I mean, for me, the first professional championship to not even play a full season of hockey
Yeah.
to get that right away was. Definitely something I won't forget. And just afterwards, going into the locker room, being with all the guys and the owner, and we even had some of the fans who traveled come down to the locker room, and like I said, it was for the fans. Yeah, we won it as a team, but it was a different feeling type of win when you're doing it for basically someone else
Yeah.
who's been looking for a championship for a long time. And just getting back, they had a police escort us in, and when we got to the rink, there was a ton of fans out there waiting for us, and even the parade. It was raining and cold, and they still showed up, and they were still out, and they wanted to do autographs after, and we all stayed after, and it was supposed to be an hour-long session that turned into 3.5 hours long because there were so many people that were coming through the rink, and there was multiple fans that said like, they've been around for every championship that Peoria has ever had, and they were happy to see an SPHL
Yeah.
championship. And they told me they could die happy now because they were able to at least see that, and that was one thing that they wanted to see before they passed away. So that just shows you the type of fans that they have. They're true fans, true diehard fans. If you're playing bad or if you're playing good, those are the real fans.
Yeah, it's just something special that hockey brings. It's just like, or in sports bring as a whole, it's just the diehard fans, like the fans that are just willing to do whatever it takes for even if the team's really bad that year, like they're still gonna support you and everything, and not like jump to another team and be a bandwagon.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but throughout like the ECHL and SPHL so far, like you obviously are in a lot of hot rinks, especially like when you're in Texas. Like what did you have to learn, especially when you're going into these hot rinks and playing and you start to cramp and like all that? Like what do you do to help prevent all that?
I just the main thing is just you have to be even more hydrated than what you
Yeah,
normally are. Yeah, that's what I've been kind of figuring out. Especially from that Roanoke trip. Like, yeah, we went to it's called like a infusion lounge where you get the IV drip bags and stuff, and before the games and stuff like that. We still did that, but it wasn't enough
yeah,
because the amount of people that were in the rink, plus it was probably in the mid 60s, maybe 70s, with the humidity feeling like 80
yeah,
in Roanoke. Like it was very warm there. And then obviously here, I mean, 50 degrees is not hot by any means. And so like the rink isn't too warm, but early in the season when it was 70 and 80 degrees out, it's still rink gets warm, gets humid inside. And so my one thing that I've noticed is that I have to overhydrate than more than what I'm used to.
yeah. That's a good like thing to learn, especially like when you're going into these warm rinks. Like you need to do everything you can to hydrate because you can't afford to be cramping throughout the game and have that like dip your performance a little bit.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but for this part of the show, I want to get into like your youth days here and your junior and college days. So you grew up in the Detroit, Michigan area. So what was your path growing up? Like how old were you when you first started playing the game and what grew you into the love of the game?
So when I first started, I was 5. Played one of my best friends who I played baseball with. Kind of got me into hockey, and he told me, to come try it out. And I went around the first day. I went out on the ice. They had me push a metal chair around the rink. Did that for, I think it was like 2 hours. I got off. The guy who was there watching said, "Yeah, that I could play hockey." And my dad's like, that he just pushed a chair around the rink.
Doesn't
He
make
could play
sense.
hockey. Yeah, he's like, he didn't even do anything, just pushed a chair around the rink. He's like, but he didn't fall once, so like he has good balance and he can, he can play. And so, uh, right after that, during that was in the summertime, and that started that season with the Detroit Dragons. It was a house team, not in right in Detroit, and so yeah, it was definitely one of those things that kind of got to that, and went straight to how I stayed with them with the Detroit Dragons, and then made the jump to AAA with Bell Tire. Played with them, played with Honeybake, won the state championship with them. Went to Little Caesars, uh, finished out then, and then I went and played high school hockey with Liggett in Grosse Pointe. It's called University of Liggett School. Played there for my whole high school. We ended up winning a state championship. It was that was a fun year because they hadn't won a championship in 20 years, and so that was also fun to just kind of be a part of. And played all 4 years there. Then I went to Collinsville, Pennsylvania. Played with the Keystone Ice Miners in the North American Hockey League. They were once originally the Port Huron Fighting Falcons, and they ended up moving that year. Got super excited because I was like, oh, I'm gonna go play for Port Huron. It's only a 45-minute drive from my parents. They want to come up to the games. They ended up moving, of course, and went to Pennsylvania. Played there for the year. They folded. I got a chance once I finished out the season with them. And there wasn't a new owner that bought the team, so they folded, and I had a chance to just kind of go wherever I wanted. I ended up talking to a few teams and felt it was going to be best for me to go to Janesville. They were really good team. Played against them the whole year. They were just coming off 100-point year, which was like the highest in all of North American hockey. They've never, there was no other team that hit 100 points in the league, and so I ended up going there. Played there for both years, and that's where I kind of ran into Jason Blumenberg at Aurora University and Brian Dempsey, and it was funny because Brian Dempsey actually sent a letter in the mail to me when I was in high school about coming to Aurora University. So I had already previously saw Aurora University, didn't think too much of it. Parents remembered it. I didn't remember it. And I remember seeing it and like, I don't even know what this, what this school is. And so I remember one of my friends in high school, she actually went to Aurora University, played soccer there. So I knew somebody there and asked them a few questions about it, and went and talked to a few other D3 schools, and went on a tour at Aurora and another school, kind of narrowed it down to my top two. When saw Aurora University, it was one of the best campuses that I have seen. It was unbelievable, great feeling, felt like home being there. Went around and talked to coaches, felt like this was going to be a good spot. They wanted to rebuild and, make Aurora a special spot and make it a spot where, it's a powerhouse team. And so that's something that I want to be a part of. I didn't want to go the route of, I could have went to a different school that was top in the country. I didn't want to be a part of, because it would have been like I would just been another guy there. I want to be a part of something that I could felt like I helped rebuild. And so I went to Aurora for ended up being 5 years because of COVID, where I think we end up getting to 7th in the country by my 5th year, to go from, I think we were like 63rd in the country to 7th in the country in 5 years is obviously a huge, big jump, but it was fun. And, shout out to all the boys there who are still grinding. I think right now they're 10th in the country, so they're still keeping strong and, keeping the program going well. And I think they'll only at some point will hit top 5 in the country and, end up winning a national championship.
Yeah, it's like what's that grind like, especially when you're 60, you start off as 63rd in the country, and then throughout the 5 years, like you just see little progress after progress after progress, and you end up being 7th by your 5th year. It's like what's that grind like, and just seeing the team just go up another notch each and every year?
The first year was tough. We didn't make playoffs, and I that was the first time I have never not made playoffs. So that was definitely an experience. And I mean, we had guys that didn't play juniors. They went straight from high school straight into college to Division III college hockey. So it was a little different for them because they hadn't played juniors. So we brought in guys who we end up being the #1 recruiting class in the country. We end up bringing in guys who played juniors and developed a lot longer. And, we're all the same age, but technically they're like juniors and seniors at this point. So, it's definitely a learning curve from that standpoint. And then we brought in another #1 or #2 recruiting class in the country, brought in another #1, #2 recruiting class in the country. And then, it wasn't, I think that next class wasn't as high, but we got all the right pieces that we needed to kind of succeed to keep that climb of let's first make it to a ranking and getting in the top 15 in the country. I mean, there were so many times we had the chance to make it we just didn't have the right pieces where we dropped a game, would pushed us down and, went on a little bit of a skid. And finally we kind of figured out how to get out of it. And, we ended up making that push and made to I think it was 14th in the country, then end up being at 10, and then end up at 7. So, it was a hard, long 5 years, and I'm glad I was a part of it, and I'm glad I was able that I didn't go the route of going to other teams that were already nationally ranked and was winning conferences and things like that. But I'm just happy that I was able to be a part of that. And looking back, say I would have went to the other route, I would have won a national. I would have won a national championship, but would I have won a SPHL championship?
Yeah,
that's the take. So I'm happy I was a part of it, and if I had to do it over again, I'd still make the call to go to Aurora and grind through those 5 years of help building a program.
yeah, that's awesome, especially when you're bringing in new class after new class, like very good classes, and then like even though you guys didn't bring in like the one or two class like you did before, but like you're still like building that team and like they're buying into the system, and like you're fortunate enough to lead that group for your sophomore, junior, senior, and your 5th year. So you're assistant captain those sophomore, junior year, senior, and your 5th year, your captain. So like, what was it like to take on that leadership role and help build that program?
So yeah, the sophomore year when I had an A, I had a great captain who was ahead of me, Drew Doyon, and we kind of bounced ideas off each other, like how we want to help change the culture of the program, and figure out how we can make this a special spot for other guys and who want to come in and try to make ourselves one of the top teams in the conference. So that we definitely helped each other out, being in meetings with coaches and figuring out like how we're going to get the best out of the guys and things like that. And he ended up leaving after his senior year. Josh and I kind of took over after that. And we kind of had the blueprint of, okay, this is how we get the best out of everybody. Now, how do we get to everyone to buy into what we want to do for this year? And so that definitely helped out with, obviously team bonding stuff that we did, kind of having, like a playbook essentially of like, this is what we want to do in offensive zone, D zone, stuff like neutral zone. And then also, this is how we want to be off the ice. This is how we want the school to see us. This is how we want people in public to see us if we're wearing Aurora University, stuff like that. Like that's how we built the culture of how we wanted our team to be.
Yeah, and like culture is such a big key to that, because if you don't have guys buy into the program, like it sucks to say, but you're not gonna be good, or like you're not gonna be building like a national championship team. But like once everyone buys in and everything, like that's when you start to see the team come together. Everyone's going through a wall for each other, and like that's when you just start seeing like all the little things come together and like should build that program, especially going from 63rd to 7th in the country.
Right. Exactly.
In 2020, 2021, while you were at Aurora University still, you were named NCAA D3, NCHA all academic teams. Like, how much does that mean to you, especially since academics are so important, especially getting into like the pro game and just as a whole, like in college, you want to have good grades.
It meant a lot, especially from where I came from with schooling. School was always tough for me. So to kind of figure out and how to buckle down and organize kind of my everyday life with whatever projects and papers and tests that I had to kind of figure that out. It definitely it meant a lot. And yes, academics is huge. It was one of those things that one reason why I picked Aurora University because I was able to double major. So if I'm going to pay the money, I might as well try to get 2 degrees.
Yeah.
So I end up double majoring in marketing and business administration. Paired those two together, and after my fourth year at my senior year at Aurora University, I wanted to make a decision if I was going to go play pro hockey, or since they offered a fifth year, COVID year, I was trying to decide if I was going to get my master's, and I got done, and it was partly money. I was like, I don't know if I really want to do it, but in the long run, it'll help me out regardless of where I'm playing at, whether it's SP or Coast or wherever. That was one of the things that it was like at talking to Brian Dempsey, our assistant coach, he was like, it makes, if you're going to go and play, you're not going to want to do this and go get your master's in 10 to 15 years. Once you start hitting 30, 40, you're not going to want to go back to school. You're already in the mindset right now, and you might as well do it. So Aurora offered a 1-year master's program. So once I graduated, I was back in the classroom 2 weeks later. So I didn't really have much of a summer break. So Josh and I were both in the classroom. I think it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think was our schedule. In the classroom in the whole summer. And then it was three semesters, and kind of banged it out. So I ended up getting my master's in business administration with the emphasis in sports management. Because when I'm done with playing hockey, I kind of want to get into sports marketing and stuff, whether it's for NHL or NFL team or something in sports. So it was one of those things that I wanted to put a pause on jumping into pro hockey to kind of further my life for when I'm done playing hockey. I knew I was still going to be in a good spot with Aurora University, and I knew that we were going to have another good team of what they were bringing in. And so I was like, I might as well stay another year, see if we can make a run at it. No, it didn't work out for us to make a run at it, but it worked out for me for academically. And obviously I ended up going to the SPHL, so that still got a chance to start my pro career and ended up here in Allen. So it was a good call by me to wait. I know they were trying to figure out get COVID playing pro hockey, how that was going to work, how traveling was going to work. Like it was a bit of a mess. So just sitting out the year and not going right into pro hockey and just being able to go back and play at my school, it made the most sense for me.
Yeah, so it was definitely worth going through the extra grind for that extra year to advance your academics and to advance your professional career as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So just being able to have that, and now don't have to go back, and I can still play pro hockey. And when I'm done, I'll have a resume of playing professional hockey, and however many years I want to play, I'll have that on a resume with a master's degree that that will never go away. So
yeah, exactly. It never goes away. So you'll always have that no matter what.
Right.
So junior hockey, you played 3 years of juniors in the North American League in the NAL, and you played high school, AAA, and in the Michigan Development Hockey League. So like, what was that development and growth throughout those years before heading into college hockey?
It was definitely an experience. Like Michigan hockey is just as good as Minnesota hockey.
Yeah.
Played against a lot of good players who are currently playing in the NHL. The guys who are on my team who are playing there now. So it was definitely a good year for it. So we definitely had some good years of playing AAA, playing even in high school. High school hockey was still pretty solid.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure how it is now. I've been away from high school for a bit now, so can't really talk too much about that. But back then it was still good hockey. And so yeah, developing was good because we were playing against some very good players who are playing in the NHL making millions right now. So
Yeah, so like what do you have to what do you learn that you have to do, especially when you're playing against those good players that are in the NHL right now, and just since they're on another level, just to be able to compete and be at their level at that time.
so at that time, I'd say that it was first figuring out what they do, their tendencies, and how they play. So once you figure it out, they like certain moves. You kind of start seeing that, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, you can kind of adjust to, hey, they're probably going to make this move on you. So, kind of helps avoid being embarrassed and ended up on ESPN or something. But yeah, so just one of those things that I had. It just obviously the more you play them, the more you start seeing tendencies that help you kind of adjust to how they play.
Yeah, so like the importance of being aware of what they're doing and just having like that self-awareness of what, like if they're in a situation they could pull off this move, or
Right.
if they're in another situation they can pull off that move.
Yeah, or even just knowing that they're on the ice. I mean, obviously they go to change, but and you don't want to get to a point where maybe you're at the end of your shift kind of tired and you're seeing who's coming up next. Maybe now is a good time to get somebody who's fresh out on the ice.
Yeah, that goes especially hand in hand with being a goalie, like knowing the guys who are on the ice, especially if they can light you up, just be aware of where they are and where they could possibly shoot from.
Exactly.
Yeah, but cap off this show, I wanna ask you a few more questions. Like, do you have any tips for players looking to get to that next level, whether it be juniors to college, college to pro, SP to coast, whatever it is?
My tip would be to, if you know your role on your team, to play that role on the team. Don't, regardless of any age group, because you get to where guys are starting to feel like, okay, I'm a skill guy, and they're not a skill guy.
Yeah,
That really puts you back further than, say, someone whose job is just to get the puck as a winger and chip it off the glass and get it out the zone. Guys
yeah,
make millions of dollars doing that in the NHL, and they're good at it. And so you find what you're good at and you be the best at that, regardless if you're playing juniors, if you're playing D3, or if you're playing Division 1. It doesn't matter. If you're the best at that, someone will notice that and someone will take you. So that's the best advice that I can give. And I know my role on the team and I know what I need to do. And so I'm going to give it 100% every single time in that role that I am, because especially in pro hockey, there's a lot of moving pieces. Everybody, you can get traded, you can get released. You never know what could happen.
yeah,
And so you never want to be in a position where you say, well, I wish I would have done this. And so far I can say I've done everything that I possibly can to stay in the spot that I'm staying in. And so my advice is just to just give it 100%. You never know who's watching you, and to just stick with your role and what you are on your team. And if you don't know your role, ask your coach. Go up
yeah,
into him and say, hey, like, like, what do you see my role at on the team? And and how can I be the best at that role? So that's how that'll help, open up some type of dialogue between you and the coach. You guys are both on the same page of, hey, I'm looking for you to score 50 goals, or I'm looking for you to be a shutdown guy, and that, so then you can go out there and perform and know that, okay, my coach wants me to do this, I'm going to go out there and do this. And if you can't do that, or you don't feel that that's your role, then maybe that's not the right spot for you. And that's one thing that's going to be tough and challenging to decide whether to stay or to go. But one thing with pro hockey, you have to learn how to adapt
yeah,
to your surroundings. And if, say, there is someone who's already in that role and they're better than you at that role, you have to figure out, okay, how do I change a little bit of my game to fit a different style or different play of what my coach wants? Like, you could be a goal scorer, but your coach needs you on the third line, going out there to hit bodies and being a threat to where if you do get the puck on your stick, you can score on the third line. And so if if you can figure out how to do that and learn how to adapt, then pro hockey will take you very far.
yeah. Absolutely. Those are some great tips, especially like that open communication line with your coach. Like, always good to have that open communication, especially if you don't know something. Just be on the same page, or understand like why he wants you there, instead of you being like a skill guy like it's just a simply skill guy, like maybe he wants you to hit bodies, like you said, like just to find that role and like have that same idea of what your role is.
Exactly.
Yeah, but my next question is you're a big shoe collector. So like what's been your favorite shoe that you collected?
Favorite shoe that I've collected. Um, I'll probably say it's tied between two right now. My SB Dunk Mummies, and then my um SB Dunk Civilis. It's like a shoe that it's all black, and when you step outside in the sun, the sun hits it and it changes colors, and
That's sick.
it's one of those things that you don't see every day, and turns into like it looks like a heat map, and it's such a cool design that you don't see every day. And it's one of those shoes I don't bring out often, but those are definitely top two for sure in the collection. Hoping tomorrow is supposed to be the Orange Lobsters, so hopefully, the sneaker gods bless me with with a win tomorrow.
Oh yeah, those are so sick though, and like you just a huge sneakerhead. Like hopefully the sneakerhead gods are watching over you and help you win the lobster tomorrow.
Exactly.
That's unreal. But my last question is, what's your favorite video game? Boyce wanted me to ask this.
My favorite video game, easy Black Ops 1.
Oh,
By far.
that's a good one.
That was
I like Black Ops 2 though.
Black Ops 2 wasn't bad, but Black Ops 1 was a different era. Like, I mean, obviously
Yeah,
everybody loves the Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but
yeah.
Black Ops 1 was a different time with some of the best maps that I can still remember to this day how to get around. If they were to put it out right now, I can tell you exactly where to go, with Firing Range and Summit and Nuketown. Like those
Oh
were
yeah.
just some great maps, and one of the games that uh, if they remade it the correct way, the correct way,
The correct way.
the correct way, I would definitely buy that. I would buy that game without a doubt. I would not care what the price was, because that was just such a fun time, and just playing with my friends. I mean, we were logging some hours on that game, where we were one of my buddies and we were 21 in the country in
Oh,
Search and Destroy, because we were playing just so much, and we just knew where to go, where to play at, like how to get around, and it was almost like a cheat code that we just knew we would win every single every single game. So yeah, definitely Black Ops 1, that was definitely a fun time. I mean, NFL Hits, Blitz, those were also fun games too, sports wise,
yeah.
uh but if we're talking about shooting games, for sure Black Ops 1.
Yeah, we got some pro search and destroy players right here,
Oh
right in
yeah.
front of me. That's awesome, and especially like Nuketown, like Nuketown's an original. Like everyone loves that
Oh
map,
yeah.
and it's rightfully so.
Oh, absolutely, one of the best maps ever made.
100%, 100%. But LA, thank you so much for taking the time to join me on the show, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. And I want to wish you the best of luck with the rest of the season. Hopefully, when you're back here in Illinois, we could do some training again.
Oh, absolutely, thanks for having me, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.